जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम और वेलकम टू द ई कॉमर्स गैलेक्सी राउंड अप। जी वालेकुम सलाम। आज जो है हमारा सेशन पीपीसी पे है और लिरॉन जो है वो बस ज्वाइन कर रही हैं विद इन 5 मिनट्स, तो हम थोड़ा सा वेट करते हैं। जी वालेकुम अस्सलाम। जी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, अल्लाह का शुक्र है, मैं ठीक हूँ। आप कैसे हैं? आप सब कैसे हैं? जी वालेकुम अस्सलाम। अच्छा, पीपीसी से रिलेटेड है तो काइंडली आप अपने क्वेश्चंस जो हैं वो लाइन अप कर लें, क्योंकि लिरान जो हैं वो पीपीसी निंजा हैं, तो वो काफ़ी बेहतर आंसर दे सकते हैं जितने भी आपके क्वेश्चंस होंगे पीपीसी से रिलेटेड। तो वो आप कमेंट करना शुरू कर दें ताकि जो है हम उनसे क्विकली क्विकली जो है वो आंसर्स ले सकें। जी वालेकुम अस्सलाम। और काइंडली जो भी टॉपिक पे आप सेशन चाहते हैं, ये वीकली राउंड अप जो हमारा होता है, वो आप ग्रुप में जो है वो अपडेट कर दिया करें, ताकि जो है वो हम एक सीरीज़ ऑफ टॉपिक्स हो हमारे पास और हम उनको बेहतर तरीके से एड्रेस कर सकें हर टॉपिक को। और जो मेरे पास है नॉलेज वो ऑब्वियसली मैं शेयर करूँगा इंशाल्लाह। और अगर कोई उस इंडस्ट्री का एक्सपर्ट भी हमें लाना पड़ा, जैसे कि हम ला रहे हैं रेगुलर बेसिस पे, तो हम वो भी इनवाइट करेंगे। उन उन गेस्ट को भी एज अ गेस्ट उनको भी इनवाइट करेंगे। ओके, बस थोड़ा सा टाइम और, फिर ऑन हमें ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं जल्दी। थैंक यू। ओके जी।
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us today. It's really an honor to have you on our show. So basically, our audience would like to know a little bit about you, when you started and what you are doing now.
Sure. So I started, actually, my background is I started my career out of college in financial services. So I was a financial advisor, I was a bank manager. And in 2010, I started an online life insurance agency. So I always had a sort of passion and hobby of learning internet marketing and how to make money online. And I married my knowledge of internet marketing with my sort of career background of financial services to start a business. I did that until I sold it in 2015, after sort of discovering the Amazon opportunity in 2014. And since 2014, I've been selling on Amazon, started private label brands, sold millions of dollars on the platform, and started a marketing and advertising agency for Amazon sellers and brands. So fast forward to today, we manage advertising for over 160 seller accounts on Amazon. We have a team of about 35, and we also manage about 7 brands fully on Amazon with all the marketing, advertising, uh, for those seven stores.
Okay, that's great. What would you like to give us today? Like any tips, anything for a newbie or for a expert who is already selling on Amazon relating to PPC? What is working well today nowadays?
Sure. So I think today, one, you want to make sure you have. So this is more, I guess, newbie, but you want to make sure you have brand registry, because when you have brand registry, it unlocks a lot of marketing opportunities for you. I highly recommend using the IP Accelerator program to get brand registry right away before you even launch your first product. I think you should have brand registry in place. And this is not PPC related, but PPC is only 50% of the equation, right? Any online business needs to have 2 important components in order for you to make money. The first one is traffic,
Mhm.
which pay-per-click advertising on Amazon helps you get there. And the second one is
Mhm.
conversion. So you could be amazing at understanding how to optimize and target keywords and bid optimization and negatives and match types and everything that PPC takes. But if your listing doesn't convert, none of that really matters. It's like bringing people into a store, and the store is completely unorganized, looks terrible. People can't find the products. The products are not looking great, right? Like,
Mhm.
then they don't look beautiful on the shelf. Like, they don't have great
Mhm.
packaging. And people are just going to come in and they're going to walk out. So you want them to come in, and you want them to buy, and you want anywhere between 10 and 40% of that audience to come in and actually buy. And so you have to think about that
Mhm.
when you're running ads. The first foundational aspect is having a great listing, having reviews, A+ content, infographics, all the elements that are important to convert. And then after that is when PPC can really help you by taking advantage of it. And brand registry will also unlock, as far as like what's working well, sponsor brand video, something that's been working really well for the last year. And I feel like will continue to work well. Amazon has been putting more inventory. So you're seeing ads now on page 2 where they weren't before. We're seeing a beta of ads that are going now from sponsor brand video to the storefront. So up until now, they've always had
Mhm.
the detail page. Now some sellers have in their account the ability to send that traffic to the storefront. It'll be interesting to see how that works, how that converts versus the detail page. But I think expect Amazon to do more and more with video, which means also you should be thinking about creating more professional, high quality video for not
Mhm.
only video ads but for your listings. And you can use that video in your storefront, you can use it on your listing, you can use it on a video ad. It might not be the same exact. You might want to edit the video specifically for each of those placements, because the video you might put on your listing should probably be a little different than the video you put on the video ad. What do I mean by that?
Mhm.
um, a lot of people have a video on their listing that opens up with a company logo and then shows the product, or that then goes into something else. For a video ad, you want to capture somebody's attention right away. They haven't taken the time to get to your listing where they're going to spend more time to watch your full video, evaluate the product. They're scrolling, right, mostly on mobile,
Mhm.
and you want to get their
Mhm.
attention. And you're not going to get the attention with the logo. You only have one
Yeah.
second, to get their attention. So you really want to open up directly with some kind of interesting footage that is showing the product, demonstrating the product in use. And so you probably want to have your main listing video edited for specifically for video ads.
Okay, great. Okay, so we have some questions relating to PPC. Let me show on screen.
Great. Okay. I see. So the question is, what kind of launches are good, PPC based or giveaway based, and why? So Atif, you ask a very good question. I'll share my thoughts and my philosophy on it. So number one, let's separate out launch into two different categories: new product launch and relaunch. Okay, I would treat them as two totally different animals, because a new product launch has the Amazon honeymoon period. It's easier to rank, and it's easier to rank with PPC alone. And I've had some very good success in the last year with launching products and just using PPC. Okay. PPC, aggressive, exact match targeting with top of search placements, ASIN targeting with top of product page placements, um, and going very aggressive, not really being as concerned about ACoS, in the first couple of weeks, more being concerned about driving sales and velocity. And it does work very well for ranking purposes. At the same time, I always think of giveaway as a backup option in those cases if I don't get enough ranking, enough traction, or if my product is a highly competitive category. If I'm going into supplements, probably PPC alone is not good enough. You need to do some kind of combination of aggressive PPC and giveaways in order to be able to sort of break into the market. In those cases, we'll actually work on a 3-month timeline. In terms of giveaways, we'll start with month 1 on very long tail keywords that are easier to rank for, that are less competitive. Month 2 will go in like mid volume keywords, and then month 3, hopefully we have a lot more reviews, and then we can target more competitive keywords. But I would say if your product is not, extremely competitive niche, then you should try with PPC only for new products. The other side is for relaunches. I think you need PPC along with giveaways. It's harder on products that have been sitting, let's say, without great sales for some time, and you want to relaunch a product. It's easier. PPC alone does not always help in those cases. So in those cases, I would look to also do some kind of launch or giveaway. We're also using not just rebates, giveaways. We're also using add to carts, which also works very well and works very well together with rebates. And you don't need to give away as many units when you're adding in some add to carts into the strategy.
Okay.
Okay. If a competitor is ranked in irrelevant keywords, then do the same. It's a good question. I would want to try to understand the exact scenario. Logically speaking, I think logically speaking, one of two things is happening. One, maybe it's not as irrelevant as you think. Maybe they are selling product through that keyword, because if Amazon is ranking them for that keyword, either it's a very non-competitive type keyword where there isn't enough relevant products to list and Amazon is listing them, or it is actually driving keywords. I would say what you can do is, before you think about trying to rank that keyword, run it with PPC and see if you get sales with PPC. If you get sales with PPC, then you'll get sales organically. If you don't get sales with PPC, you probably won't get sales organically either. So I would test it with PPC, but typically if something is ranking for something, then probably there are sales that are coming through that keyword. Otherwise, Amazon wouldn't rank it. Or it could be that that keyword has such low volume and not many relevant products that Amazon is kind of showing as close as it can get. But you can test it with PPC just to see if it's converting for you first before you decide to maybe make a bigger effort in trying to rank that keyword. But in general, I would focus on keywords you think are relevant, right? Like as a strategy.
Okay.
Okay. Kindly discuss how we can start launching and ranking with only PPC. And is it viable to rank product only with PPC? How much budget should we assign if we want to rank our product with PPC? Okay, so let's tackle this each one of these. How you can start launching and ranking with only PPC. What we do is we take the top 15 to 20 most relevant keywords. We target them with an exact match campaign, dynamic bid up and down, 900% top of search placement. We put a low bid. So as far as a bid, take the suggested bid range. Let's say the suggested bid for a keyword is $1 to $2. What we do is we take the top range, the $2, and we take 10% of that. So we'll put 20 cents. But then, we have dynamic bid up and down, which can take that 20 cents to double to 40 cents. And then we have the 900% top of search. We could take the 40 cents and multiply it by 9 to $3.60. So we will actually pay a lot more because of the 900% top of search placement. So we do that with an exact match campaign. We also do the same exact strategy with product pages. So we'll take ASINs that are ranking for those keywords that we're targeting, and we'll target those with product pages, again with top of search, top product page placement. How much budget should we assign? Don't think about it as how much budget should you assign. Think about it as how much units do I want to sell. Okay. And assume, assume you're going to have a high ACoS with this strategy. So assume, let's say that you might have 100% ACoS with this strategy. So the question is, how much product do you want to sell in your first month? Do you want to sell 5,000? If you want to sell 5,000 and you're assuming that most of your initial sales are going to come from PPC, then you're going to have a $5,000 budget. If you're thinking 100% ACoS, $5,000 budget equals $5,000 in sales. If your goal is to get to 25,000 in sales on a product, generate more velocity and more ranking, put a $25,000 budget. So it's not so much of how much budget should we assign, it's how much sales do you want to get? And then also trying to, yes, you need to identify in your niche, how many sales do I need to drive in order to rank? And it's going to be different based on, how many units are being sold through those particular keywords. And there are different tools, that you can use to try to assess what that is. But the first step is understanding, how much are competitors selling, how many sales might be coming through a particular keyword, and how many sales do I need to drive, per day in order to get some ranking. It is easier when you have a new product also. Don't think about how much budget should I assign. Think about how much sales do I want to get, or how much revenue do I want to drive in my first month. And realizing that if you go aggressive with PPC, the point is not to generate profitable sales, it's to generate organic ranking. And your best opportunity to do that is when you launch a new product. On top of that, you want to have a way to get your first, 5 to 10 reviews. Maybe you're going to use some friends, family to help drive some new reviews. Maybe you're going to use the Vine program, which can get you an additional, 20, 30 reviews, early reviewer program, and get to your first, 50, 100 reviews quickly.
Okay.
Okay. So how do we decide which keywords to put in an exact broad or phrase in our PPC campaign? Do you recommend using PPC auto campaign from start? Should we use manual exact campaign initially, targeting long tail keywords, and after ranking on some of these, we should start the auto? So as part of the launch plan, I would put maybe a low bid auto campaign, like 50 cent, 40, 50 cents auto campaign with some budget on it, just to get some more ASINs and more keywords potentially being targeted. This is for launch. In general, when we launch and we want to launch for ranking, we'll only use exact match. But after maybe a 2-week period, we'll use all 3 match types, exact, broad, or phrase. We create one campaign with 3 separate ad groups, and we target generally when we're managing just for, you know, getting to a certain ACOS or tacos and not for ranking purposes after that initial 2-3 week period. We target every keyword with all 3 match types, and then we optimize the bids based on the results. So we're probably going to bid more. We might set all the bids based on suggested bids or where we want to start, and then we bring the bids up or down based on the data and how they're performing. But we generally will target every keyword in all 3 match types. And sometimes, for whatever reason, Amazon will favor showing a particular search term underneath. They might not show it under exact, they might show that search term under broad for whatever reason. So we find it a good strategy to target to always target all 3 match types and then optimize based on bids. Or if a particular match type is just not performing at all, then we will just pause that particular keyword.
Okay.
So this is a question around day parting, I think, or around budget. On a peak selling time, should we increase the PPC budget? For example, if I'm getting the highest number of sales from 4 to 10, should I increase my PPC during these hours? I personally don't use this approach. You're probably getting the highest number of sales during this time because there's the most amount of traffic during this time. And probably during other times, you're not getting as much sales because there's just less traffic, on your detail pages. But Amazon doesn't give us hourly data today. They might in the future, but today Amazon doesn't give hourly data based on performance. So we don't necessarily know when a sale comes in if it's based on a click at 1 p.m. or a click at 8 p.m. So generally we don't use either day parting or increased budgets during certain times of the day, unless we're running a lightning deal. For example, if we're running a lightning deal during a particular time of the day, then we will generally increase budgets. That's because we know we're going to get more traffic and more conversions. Otherwise, we don't necessarily do this. The only time I would use this strategy of either increasing budget or day parting, which means maybe I wouldn't run ads from before 4 and 10, before 4 p.m., is if I had a limited budget and I wanted to make sure my budget lasted throughout the whole day, then maybe I would, use day parting to not show ads during a particular time if I wanted to make sure my budget lasted through the day. Otherwise, I would just increase my budget if I was, running out of budget. But generally, we don't put this strategy in place.
Okay.
If the profit margin is low, can we start PPC? Yes, how to cover up the expense. I think if your profit margin is low, then you just have a bigger problem other than PPC. If your profit margin is low, you shouldn't launch a product.
Yeah, actually, there are some newbies who launched the product with the price of $6 to $7, and they end up having the profit margin around $1 to $1.50. So it is really hard to get the PPC going in this situation. So I have dealt with some products, with these kind of products as well, and you can never actually decrease the ACOS. Not going into profitability is a separate part. Even you cannot decrease.
Yeah, my advice would be don't launch. If you launch a product that's $6.99, my strategy around that would be to use that as a loss leader and have another variation that was $19.99 or $20.99 or higher price point, where people might click on that $6.99 product and then buy the more expensive size or color or version of the product. We do this sometimes with people in the supplement space. Actually, we'll do like a small trial size or something at a cheap price to get the clicks into the listing, and then have, also another variation that's higher priced. But my feeling around profit margin is that you should try to go for 40% profit margin after cost of goods and Amazon fees, and at least 100% ROI. Maybe you go to 35%, but below that, I think you don't have enough room. Also, I think when you're launching a new product, don't assume that I'll be able to sell this for $19.99. Think of the worst case scenario. What if by the time you launch your product, there's more competitors and you need to price it at, 20% less, 15% less? Do you still have margin? If your margin is so thin and new competition comes in and you can't afford to lower the price, you're going to be in a bad situation. So when you're making your product selection process, make sure you have enough margin where, if you think you're going to launch a product at $20 and you end up having to sell it at $16, do you still have enough margin in that situation? So because one of the biggest issues I see with sellers is they say, I did research. During my research, there was only one or two competitors. 3 months later, when I launched a product on Amazon, there were 20 competitors. So be prepared for that, and be prepared in advance with how you will deal with that kind of situation.
Yeah. So what do you think? What is the best price? Like, what is the sweet spot for in terms of pricing for the product?
I mean, generally, I would look to launch products that are over $15, $20, and above. I also think there's an opportunity to launch high price products, products that are $75, $100, $150, that, that maybe won't be as competitive because not as many new people are going to launch a product that might cost you $20 to source. So I happen to like higher price products too. You just have to make sure you know what you're doing, and that and then the biggest issue with those kind of higher price products is you want to make sure you have a really high quality product. You're doing inspections, because you're a lot of times your worst case scenario is, I'll lower that price, I'll be able to liquidate and sell out, and I won't lose all the money even if it's not a success. But if you end up getting 1-star reviews, and the product quality is really bad, then you will end up being stuck with all the inventory, and you kind of won't be able to sell it at probably any price. So I think that's your biggest risk when launching, higher priced products. Elise says, how to structure campaigns. Like, let's say if we have 20 plus highly relevant keywords and all we want to target as exact, how many number of campaigns do you prefer? So Ali, it's a good question. There's a number of ways you could do it. You can try to put all of them in one campaign, and see if they're all getting impressions, if you have enough budget. Or you could try to separate them out into based on volume. Maybe take the bottom 10 and put them in one campaign, that the bottom 10 in search volume, then the next 5, the top, meaning take the top 1 to 3 and put them in one campaign, then take number 3 to 8, like the next 5, put them in a separate campaign, and then 8 to 20 that might have lower volume, and separate out those into a separate campaign. So there's a number of ways to structure it. You can also start out putting them in one campaign and seeing if they all get impressions in that one campaign. If they do, you're fine. And if some of them don't, you could try separating those out into their own campaign.
Okay.
Could you let me know PPC strategy for a dead listing? So again, I would challenge to say, is your problem PPC, or is it something else, or is it the product? Right? It's probably the product, or it's probably the listing. Like, do you have reviews? Do you have A+ content? Do you have a differentiated product? What's your price point? The PPC strategy would be the same as any other product. I would want to drive traffic through relevant keywords with a variety of different match types and a variety of different ads: sponsored product, sponsored brand, sponsor brand video. It might not be any different than any other strategy, but if it's a dead listing, or if you've run PPC before, I'm assuming you've run PPC before, and if it's a dead listing, it probably didn't convert. And so my feeling is that you have a listing product issue, not a PPC issue in this case. Good question. The first thing I'll say is that there is no perfect tool for PPC. Every tool has limitations. Every tool needs to be controlled by a human that understands Amazon PPC and understands how the tool works and understands what are the limitations of the tool. And I can give you some examples of limitations. The tool that we use is Perpetua. So we use Perpetua.io as a tool to manage. But even though I think it's one of the best tools in the market, it also has limitations. As an example, if a particular keyword does not convert well, the bids will just be brought down on that keyword, and they never may be tested again and increased again. Maybe the bids were brought down when you had 0 reviews, and now you have 1,000 reviews. If you weren't paying attention and manually going into the software and raising the bids on that keyword at a future date to retest it, you'll just never get impressions on that keyword again. So software has limitations. Software doesn't understand, or at least today, software doesn't understand, hey, this product went from 10 reviews to 1,000 reviews. Maybe I should retest a whole bunch of keywords. Software doesn't understand when your listing says, today is February 4th. When your listing says in stock February 15th, software doesn't understand that it's not going to convert today, but it might convert in 10 days when the product is fully in stock. So you need a human that can see those elements, understand those elements, and then manipulate the software to do what you want it to do based on what's happening with areas today that software doesn't understand. Maybe in the future, AI will get better, and all my clients will need to fire me, because the tools will be so good. But today the AI is not, where you can be completely hands off and just put a tool. So you still need a combination, I think, of human intervention, understanding, and there's definitely room for great tools that can help you. Where I think the tools can do a good job is bid optimization, is keyword harvesting. So for example, Perpetua not only moves keywords from auto into manual, or from broad match, underlying search terms into exact. It also moves keywords across campaigns for the same product. So if I have a product that I'm running a sponsored product campaign, and the keyword is converting, or search term is converting, and there's also a sponsored brand video ad, Perpetua understands that and will move the keyword from the sponsored product campaign into the sponsored brand campaign. Like, there are certain advantages to using it in certain automations that save us time. But every tool has limitations, and you need to understand what they are and how to control the tool.
Okay, so we are going to take one more question. Okay, this one is good.
Okay. How do you think Amazon's algorithm allocates weightage? Sales coming in from PPC versus sales coming in via SFB versus sales coming in from social media, including your website landing onto Amazon. It's a good question. I think the algorithm likes all of it. I don't necessarily know, the weightings in the algorithm, but we do know that Amazon loves external traffic, and that external traffic coming, if I was an engineer sitting at Amazon, right, and I had to give a weighting for a listing that is has somebody searching for a keyword and coming from it within Amazon, or somebody from outside of Amazon, an influencer or somewhere, is bringing me new people onto the site that weren't there before to shop, I would say that's more valuable, right? Because I'm potentially getting people that weren't in shopping mode coming in to shop from outside. And so I think you can say as an engineer, you would want to incentivize that external traffic. So I think from a logical standpoint, it would make sense to me that external has a strong weighting. As far as sales coming in from PPC versus SFB, maybe it's the same. I don't know, but I think Amazon um, treats a keyword search and a sale, whether it's coming from PPC or organic, as positive in terms of the ranking algorithm. I don't know if one is weighted higher over the other, but I do know that we've been able to rank new products, especially using PPC only, which means there is an effect on ranking that's coming in from PPC. Unlike, by the way, other platforms like Google, where you could be running $1 million a month in Google Ads. Google will tell you that that does not affect Google organic ranking. With Amazon, the advantage of running ads is that it does affect ranking.
Okay, so this is the last one.
Okay. So, what is your strategy to maintain a consistent conversions and high competitive niches like supplements using PPC? I can understand that they vary among sub niches, but still, have you noticed any similarities among the high competitive niches? I think, Ali, one of the things that you need to understand with any consumable product, well, I'll tell you the strategies, but with any consumable product, you need to think about PPC differently, and you need to understand or try to understand what is the lifetime value of a customer? What is my customer repurchase rate? For example, we have a client that has pet supplements and they know they have between a 20 and 30% repurchase rate. And based on that number, they know that they can target about an 80% ACOS on their pet supplement that's consumable. So I think you want to try to understand kind of like what is your break even, how aggressive can you be on a product, and even if you're losing money on the first sale, you're making money on the future sales, assuming you have a good product and you have a good reorder rate. So I think that's how you have to think about supplements in PPC. Bids are always going to be higher when you have a consumable product, and people are not just trying to get um, one sale at break even or at profit. They're trying to buy the customer, and they're really going after a customer acquisition cost. Um, so I think that's really what you need to understand. There are different tools that might show you uh, the lifetime value of a customer. Also, brand analytics shows you repeat purchase behavior, so you can get some data around how aggressive can you be around those kind of products. So generally, I think that's kind of the name of the game, and understanding your conversion rates around the keywords that you're targeting. If you have a very low conversion rate, like let's say on PPC on a keyword, like 4% or less, 5% or less, you probably shouldn't be targeting that keyword because it might even be hurting your organic rankings. And then you should really double down and go after those keywords that you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% plus conversion rates. You're always going to see a lower conversion rate on keywords with PPC than on your listing overall, especially in supplements, because in supplements, you should be getting good amount of sales from repeat buyers that are coming and buying organically, and they come and buy month after month, or they have subscribe and save. And so that's your unit session percentage. Your conversion rate is going to be higher overall in the listing than on PPC. So generally, 6-7% conversion rate on a product overall is not good, but on a PPC keyword, it's okay. And so I would really focus on those keywords where you have better conversion rates, and maybe get more aggressive around those particular keywords. But supplements in general, it's just very, 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 very competitive. You need to have the capital to in certain niches to be able to to compete. And I've seen plenty of people make mistakes going into supplements, thinking that it's easy, or this amazing dream of repeat sales, and it's the grass. I think every seller looks at other categories and thinks that the grass is greener. But I heard someone recently say the grass is greener where you water it, right? Like You know, focus on what
Yeah.
you're doing and improving what you're doing, and you know, maybe one category isn't really better than another. It's just how you're treating it.
Okay, great. So that's all for today, and I thank you again for joining us today. And in our way, we say in Urdu, "बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया." It means thank you so much. Thank you very very much for joining us today.
Great. Thank you so much for having me on. A lot of really good questions. So thank you.
Thank you. Take care. ओके गाइस, थैंक यू सो मच। आपने इतने ज़बरदस्त क्वेश्चंस जो हैं वो आज किए हमारे गेस्ट से, और मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ कि क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स जो हमें मिले हैं उन पे आप गौर करेंगे। और आई एम सॉरी कि मैं सारे क्वेश्चंस एड्रेस नहीं कर सका, लेकिन आने वाले टाइम में हम फिर से जो है वो इनको बुलाएंगे, और जो भी हमारे क्वेश्चंस हैं वो हम इनसे करेंगे। तो मुझे इजाज़त दीजिए अभी के लिए, मिलेंगे नेक्स्ट वीक में। थैंक यू सो मच, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़।